What's going on, guys? Murph's YT13 here, and welcome back to another Monday Night Raw review. And let's get into it. It was a little bit, and okay, I'm going to start with a little bit of a thought here. In my opinion, the WWE is at a crisis point in terms of their creative. The creative is so stale and so uninventive at the moment. I honestly think, and the ratings are continuing to dip. I know they've done a deal with ESPN now to have a Tuesday segment on ESPN or something of that nature. That's great for exposure, but the exposure isn't what the WWE is lacking. Everybody knows of the WWE. You don't have to market the WWE. Everybody knows what the WWE is. Everybody knows what's going on. That it's a professional wrestling company. It's not like the WWE is Ring of Honor that half the country may not even know about. It's a global brand. They travel the world. I'm not interested in expanding the knowledge of the WWE to the far reaches of the earth. Most countries in the world are aware of the WWE, and if you ask anybody on the street about the WWE, they'll be able to tell you, whether it be Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena. They might reel off some names, but they know who they are. The thing that's really lacking isn't marketing in the WWE, it's creative. The reason people aren't tuning in isn't because people don't know about you, it's because the creative is rubbish. It's because they haven't come up with any compelling storylines. The lead storyline in the company at the moment is with two guys who aren't even appearing on the show every week. And the other lead storyline is with two guys that have either A, they're nearly 50, I'm talking about Kane and Seth Rollins, or B, they've been booked so poorly that they lose every week that nobody gives a shit about them. So the ESPN thing is great, and it makes you look like you're a big deal. And I'm not saying the WWE isn't a big deal. They are a massive deal. But the thing that's lacking in the WWE at the moment is creative. And that's why we're all turning off. They've got me. They've got you. If you're listening to this, then you're a wrestling fan. They've got you. The way to keep the casual fan is to have compelling stuff on TV. And there is no coincidence that, and they bring up there's Monday Night Football and things like this. There is no coincidence that the ratings are dropping and the creative is so bad. So, the WWE are at, in my opinion, they need to overhaul the creative in some way. Get people in that are wrestling minded, that don't have a TV background from writing, fucking 2.5 Men or something, or whoever they employ down there. Get people in there who know the wrestling business. Get people in there who know what a wrestling storyline should be. It's very, very annoying at the moment because I am a fan. I pay for the network every month, and they've got me for life. I'm a wrestling fan. I love it. I just love the theatre, the action. But at the moment, it's just a frustrating time to be a WWE fan. And I do watch New Japan. I do watch Ring of Honor. I've gone off TNA a little bit, but I watch most of these shows. And the one fundamental thing that those companies have that the WWE doesn't have is they have solid long matches and they have solid creative. And you could argue, TNA's not very solid, but you look at the way they book in New Japan. It's competition based. There's results there's consequences for certain results. The champion means everything. The belts, they've got the Intercontinental Championship in New Japan that means almost as much as the World Heavyweight Championship. And why is that? That's because they don't devalue it. They don't put it in stupid positions. They don't book 50-50 all the time. They actually have champions who have long reigns. They actually have champions who mean something. And that's what the WWE doesn't have. The only reason Seth Rollins is the WWE champion at the moment is simply because he cashed in a briefcase and won it very luckily, and he's been lucky to keep it this whole time. So what does that do for Seth Rollins? It doesn't do anything for Seth Rollins. But anyway, that's a little rant. We'll get into Raw anyway. and we started it off with Dean Ambrose, and I thought this was refreshing because even though it was still a 15-minute promo to open the show, it had everything. It set up the tag match at Hell in a Cell between Strowman, Harper, and Orton and Ambrose, but there is a little bit of dissension between Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose at the moment, which I'm a fan of. I think that'll be a good match. It feels fresh. I don't know, maybe you can let me know in the comments below. Have these guys feuded as a singles before? Because I can't remember a time where they have. I think that'd be good, and I don't think you need to have a heel involved. You don't need Dean Ambrose to be a heel. You don't need Randy Orton to be a heel. These two can have a difference. They can have differences and not have to be a heel and a face. So I like that kind of dynamic. New Day, absolutely fantastic. They came out and basically we had a setup for the first match of the night, which was Dean Ambrose and Randy Orton versus the New Day. And as usual, Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose, fantastic in ring. And you know, if you've listened to this before and you've listened to me talk about the WWE before, I am a huge New Day fan. They were fantastic as well. I'm telling you, the horn, like the trombone on the outside or whatever you call that, is just genius. And Xavier Woods is heading to being one of the best outside managers, I guess you could call him, in the business. And absolutely fantastic. A really, really smartly booked match, this one. And the dissension between Ambrose and Orton builds a little bit of interest in them. And, you know, as first-time tag team partners, it only makes sense that there'd be some distrust between the two. So building that just builds a little bit of depth. I really enjoyed that, and the match was good. And, yeah, fantastic. Anything the New Day touches turns to gold at the moment. And, you know, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. They have turned chicken shit into chicken salad. It's unbelievable. Up after that, we had Naomi versus Nikki Bella. This was, you know, as again, you know, I'm comparing now the Divas division on the main roster to what's going on in NXT. And if you watched the Iron Woman match at Takeover Respect, that's the Divas Revolution. This isn't the Divas Revolution, but I think the way they are focusing on Sasha Banks now is so smart. This girl needs to be the Divas champion, and then I wanted it to happen with Charlotte, but I feel like Sasha Banks should change that title to be different. You know, change the title, change the belt, change the name of the division. This is what the Divas Revolution should be. It should be the women's division. Don't, you know, have someone come out and be the pioneer of that. It should have been Charlotte. It should have been Charlotte who said, you know what, we aren't divas. We're women, and we kick ass. And then you bring out the big gold belt, Ric Flair's big gold belt, or something to that sort of description, and maybe have that as the title. But this segment as a match overall, fair enough. But it put the spotlight on Sasha Banks, which is always the right move. And I'm glad that the reason they were keeping her away from the division at just recently was the fact that she was focusing on her NXT stuff and having the biggest match of her career against Bayley, and Bayley vice versa. So now that that's done and dusted, we need to focus more on Sasha Banks because the crowd love her. She can be a heel. I mean, she made that little girl cry on NXT, and that's, you know, that's fantastic. I mean, nobody does that these days. And she's going to really trailblaze for the women's division, I think. Up after that, we had the US Championship Open Challenge, John Cena versus Dolph Ziggler. 5 stars, man. This match was insane. And it's because people know, you know, if you know like what we know, I'm assuming you guys know that John Cena's just about to take a break. I'm not sure if Monday was his last date or if it's after Hell in a Cell that he's going. But John Cena's just about to take a break from the WWE for maybe even up to 2 to 3 months. So I thought this was the time that Ziggler was going to win it, because I wasn't sure whether Cena was going to take a break after this. But fantastic match, and that's what you're going to get with Dolph Ziggler. And you know, Cena beats him clean, but you know, puts him over at the end, and Ziggler, you know, he would make a brilliant US champion. And to continue the US Open Challenge, I think would be smart, and have Ziggler wrestling 5-star matches every week. I think that'd be great. If you haven't seen that match, go back and watch it. After that, we had the Dudley Boys versus the Ascension. It was a squash match, and I really do feel as though the Dudleys, they haven't been... I know they've just come back, and I know the tag team division doesn't have a lot of steam, but when they came back, they had a ton of momentum. I feel like it has a little bit... It's stalled a little bit. And, you know, putting them up against the Ascension, having them smash the Ascension and beat them quickly really doesn't do anything for the Dudleys, but it was what it was. It was a squash match, and, you know, I think the Dudleys, they have stalled for me a little bit. I was super excited when they came back, but, you know, it is what it is, and I think they'll have a great match against the New Day at Hell in a Cell. I think they're taking on the New Day. See, that's what the WWE does. Are they taking on the New Day? I'm pretty sure they are. Anyway, after that, we had Cesaro and Neville taking on King Barrett and Sheamus, and this was an interesting match. I thought the dynamic in this match between Cesaro and Neville, I nearly said Sheamus and Neville, the dynamic in this match between those two and the double team moves and the way they work together got me really excited, and I really would like to see Neville and Cesaro team up. I know we've seen it with Kid and Cesaro, and they got over gangbusters until obviously the devastating injury to Tyson Kidd. But I would really love to see them go in that direction and potentially, you know, be the next foil for the New Day after they, or for the Dudleys, for whoever. I think these guys, but I think, you know, also what you could see in this match is the WWE's creative problem. It's never been more on display than in this match. These are 4 guys that they have absolutely no idea what to do, and they're 4 immensely talented guys, and, you know, I mean, they didn't. I'm assuming that the WWE wants you to think that Barrett and Neville are feuding, and that, you know, I don't know why Cesaro was there if that's the case, and why Sheamus was there if that's the case, but they just don't know. And this is what I'm talking about, the overhaul of the creative. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke, but from that, they may get lucky with Neville and Cesaro. I think they would make a fantastic team. Maybe that'll be the question of the week. Should Neville and Cesaro team up? And if so, what should they be called? Let's get creative. After that, we had Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, and I thought this was good. This was pretty smartly booked, in my opinion. It's one thing I did notice, though, is how raw Braun Strowman is in the ring. He's awkward. He doesn't have a lot of offense other than just sort of standing there or pushing people away or throwing someone violently. But, you know, the finish, though, I thought was outstanding. You know, with Reigns like pulling out that, you know, that awesome looking Superman punch, and Strowman didn't lose 1, 2, 3. So I thought it was very, very smart. And the cheap shot after it was all said and done, I thought was a little bit silly, because it made Roman Reigns look a little bit heelish, a little bit cowardly. So I don't know. I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well. What do you think about that little after bit? I thought that was a little bit strange. But anyway, after that we got Ryback versus Rusev, and oh, man, I don't know. I really, really have no idea where they're going with this. Are they really just stalling? I know, you know, you've got to keep a certain amount of reality in the WWE, but now that Rusev has proposed to Lana legitimately in real life, they're starting to work that into the storyline, and it just feels rushed. It feels like they're too steeped in this reality. I think people, if they just need to get a little bit more creative with this. So I just don't understand. I've got no words. I have no words for this. It's bad acting. It's bad everything. It's just really bad. But the one thing that I am glad about is that Ziggler appears to be away from this and into a program with Cena. I think that's the only good thing to come out of it. You know, obviously Summer Rae, she stormed off. She slapped Rusev, and it appears to be over. And apparently Lana's just going to come back, and it'll be just like nothing ever happened. You know, it's so weird that Lana would hate Rusev so much, and then all of a sudden he proposes to her, and all of a sudden they're getting married. It's just, you know, fair enough in real life to marry, you know, the woman that you love, and they've obviously been together for, you know, for quite a number of years and whatever, even before they got to the WWE, or it might have only just been when they've been in the WWE. I have no idea. I don't really care, but, you know, they're in love, they want to get married, and the WWE is going to try and work it into the storyline. You know, whatever. I mean, hopefully it's a good reset for them and we can just get Rusev and Lana back, because they were a good combo. And you know, who knows, maybe they'll try and turn them face. You know, Rusev dotes over, I don't know, fuck it, it's all so convoluted. Who cares is the real thing I think you got to talk about. But anyway, we moved on. Then we had Kevin Owens taking on Kalisto, and you know, he's been mucking around with Sin Cara and Kalisto lately, Kevin Owens, mainly just to squash them. This was a fun little match. It seemed a bit awkward. I don't know whether Samurai Del Sol and Kevin Steen ever wrestled very much, but yeah, it was fine for what it was. It was a little bit sloppy and disjointed though, but I think that was mainly due to them really not knowing each other too well. But yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, Kevin Owens' match, but you know, he got the win, and it's good that they're building him up as a winner. And you know, the fucking absolutely brutal powerbomb to finish the match, yeah, it was a cool spot, and Kalisto took it like a champ. So I thought that was cool. I thought it was just good to see Kevin Owens in general. I think he needs to be featured a lot more, and I'd like to see him have all of the titles, because I just think he's the best. I just think he's the man, as you probably know if you listen to this a little bit. After that, we had Becky Lynch and Charlotte versus Brie Bella and Alicia Fox, and this was very, very standard fare, and this is where the show really started to drag for me. Even halfway through the Kevin Owens match, I started to get a little bit tired, you know, and Raw comes on at 11 a.m. in Australia, so it wasn't like it was late at night or anything like that. It was about 1:30 in the afternoon. Wasn't tired at all, but it just really started to drag. I started to look on my phone. Thank God for Twitter during Raw, I tell you. But this, you know, this could have been the one of the worst matches I've ever seen in the Divas Revolution. To be honest, I really did not rate it. It was just, it's just horrible. I mean, that you need to get these girls in the ring one-on-one. We're sick of the tag matches. We're sick of all of this kind of shit, you know. After that, we had the Lumberjack match, Kane versus Seth Rollins. This played out all through the night, with Kane being there, obviously, alone, because the Authority was having trouble getting there. They had trouble with phone reception, which, you know, I mean, doesn't happen really these days, does it? Unless you're in the middle of nowhere. But I don't know where Triple H was. He was probably on the fucking North Pole or something, if you can't get phone reception when you're about, you know, an hour or two away from the arena. But anyway, it played out, and Kane eventually, you know, he said that he's going to put himself in the main event, and the Authority said, no, you can't. And I swear to God, Michael Cole said that this was going to be for the WWE Championship. Does anybody know? I got corrected on Twitter, I think, by someone saying that no, Cole never said it. It was never for the title. But I swear I heard Cole say earlier in the night that it was for the title. I'll chuck that in the comments below. And I need to find out. I need to find out, was I hearing things, or was it actually for the title? I don't know. It doesn't even matter anyway. It was Demon Kane, Demon Kane, Demon Kane, Demon Kane, Demon Kane, Demon Kane. That's all they kept fucking saying. I know Demon Kane is actually Corporate Kane. We know. We're not dickheads, you know. We know that you want us to think that it's a different person, but it's not. We don't buy this shit in 2015. But anyway, Kane defeated Seth Rollins after, you know, New Day trying to get involved, and they've been featured heavily, and that's the way it should be. But this, I mean, do we really have to watch this match again at Hell in a Cell? Seriously? And is it going to be in a cell? I don't think it's going to be. I think there's only 2 cell matches, but do we really need to see this shit? It's so bad, and this falls, and I'm going to tie it back in with what I said at the top of the episode, the top of the review. The WWE needs to overhaul absolutely everything they're doing at the moment, because it is a joke, and they are being laughed at, and now people are starting to vote with their eyeballs. They're starting to protest by turning the channel. They're starting to protest by lowering that rating, and if that's what jerks the WWE into some form, then that's great, you know. And I've heard on certain podcasts, things like that, that the stock market at the moment is pretty much telling people not to buy stocks in the WWE. And we're coming up to you know, this is the season where you would be buying stocks in the WWE, coming up to sort of WrestleMania season, Royal Rumble. What a horrible time to be a WWE fan, I won't lie. And I'm sorry to finish on a down note, but that's the way Raw finished, so that's the way I'm going to finish anyway, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, if you've liked the video, make sure you drop a like on it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new, and as always, from YT13, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.